Imagine this. You wake up in a world where every breath you take is monetized. The air you inhale is filtered through a subscription service. Pure Life Air Plus, clinically proven to reduce anxiety and boost focus. Your morning coffee is a mindfulness blend infused with adaptogens, its packaging adorned with serene mountain vistas, and the slogan calm in every sip. As you scroll through your phone, ads for therapy apps, stress relief gadgets, and mental wellness retreats flood your feed, each promising to fix what's broken inside you. You are told relentlessly that your pain is a problem to be solved and that the solution is always for sale. But here's the unsettling paradox. The more we spend to heal our minds, the sicker we become. Anxiety disorders have tripled since the 1990s. Depression rates climb in lockstep with global GDP. Sleep, once a free and natural function, now requires $400 weighted blankets, white noise machines, and melatonin gummies branded as self-care. We've created a civilization where mental health is both a booming industry and a silent pandemic, a contradiction as glaring as a neon sign flickering over an empty room. How did we get here? Let me ask you a dangerous question. What if your suffering isn't a flaw to be medicated, but a signal to be decoded? What if the very systems claiming to cure, you are the ones feeding the disease? Consumerism, the religion of our age, has rewritten the rules of human existence. It no longer just sells you products. It sells you identities, escape routes, and permission to exist. Feeling lonely? Buy a dating app premium subscription. Overwhelmed? Purchase a productivity course. Empty? Here's a $120 journal with a leather cover and the word purpose embossed in gold. But beneath the pastel-colored packaging and Instagram-friendly affirmations lies a darker truth. Your mental health has become a commodity, and your pain is its most lucrative fuel. Every time you click, buy now, to soothe your anguish, you feed a machine designed to keep you hungry. The algorithms learn your triggers, your vulnerabilities, your midnight Google searches for how to stop feeling worthless. They don't want you healed. They want you returning. Consider this. A 2023 study found that the average person encounters over 10,000 ads per day. Each one is a tiny scalpel, slicing away at your sense of adequacy. You are not enough, they whisper. But you could be if you buy this. Even the language of empowerment has been co-opted. Self-care now means luxury bath salts instead of setting boundaries. Mindfulness is a $20 per month app subscription rather than a revolution against the cult of busyness. We've been conditioned to believe that liberation is something we consume, not something we create. And so the cycle deepens. You chase quick fixes, the dopamine rush of a new purchase, the fleeting calm of a CBD gummy, only to crash harder into the void they temporarily filled. The therapist on your screen tells you to practice gratitude, but never asks why 70-hour work weeks and predatory student loans might make gratitude feel like a cruel joke. The wellness influencer peddling, Inner Peace, doesn't mention their sponsored partnership with Big Pharma. Here's what no one wants to admit. Consumerism didn't just commercialize mental health. It engineered its collapse by eroding community, replacing meaning with materialism, and pathologizing normal human emotions. It created a population perfectly primed to buy its solutions. The 19th century factory owner chain-fed workers opium to numb their exhaustion. Today, we're handed Xanax and branded meditation cushions. The cage got softer, but it's still a cage. Can you feel it? The gnawing sense that none of this is working? The suspicion that you're running on a psychological treadmill, sweating and striving but never arriving? That's not an accident. It's by design. When your worth is tied to your productivity, your relationships reduced to networks, and your inner life flattened into mental health metrics, is it any wonder the soul rebels? We stand at a crossroads. Either we continue down this path, downloading yet another app, swallowing yet another pill, outsourcing our humanity to corporations, or we ask the terrifying question, What if the cure isn't another purchase, but a reckoning? This is not a call to abandon therapy or discard medication. It's a demand to see the system for what it is. A labyrinth where every exit sign points back to the checkout counter. To heal, we must first confront the poison masquerading as the antidote. We must trace the invisible wires connecting our credit card statements to our cortisol levels, our Amazon carts to our existential dread. But to do that, we need to go deeper. In the next section, we'll peel back the layers of this illusion. We'll explore how capitalism rewired our brains to conflate consumption with healing, why even our rebellions against the system, vegan leather, eco-anxiety journals, are still products, and how philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre predicted this existential shakedown a century ago. You'll discover why Carl Jung warned that people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls, and how consumerism became the perfect distraction. The truth is waiting, but it won't be found in a shopping cart. You walk into a grocery store. The lights are soft, the shelves meticulously arranged. You came for milk, but you leave with a cart full of self-care kombucha, stress relief chocolates, and a candle labeled Serenity Now. This is an accident. It's a science. Consumer capitalism had perfected the art of transmuting human longing into profit, converting your deepest fears and desires into products. But to understand how we got here, we must ascend into the psychological machinery that turned your psyche into a marketplace. In 1904, Sigmund Freud published The Psychopathology of Everyday Life, arguing that slips of the tongue and forgotten names revealed hidden neuroses. A century later, we pathologize existence itself. Anxiety is a natural response to collapsing ecosystems and economic precarity. It's a disorder. Grief over a world on fire becomes complicated bereavement. Capitalism didn't just monetize mental health. It invented new ways for you to feel broken. Jean-Paul Sartre called this bad faith, the act of surrendering your freedom to predefined roles. Consumerism offers a ready-made identity. The patient, the anxious, the depressed, the traumatized. These labels aren't neutral. They're cages lined with velvet. By accepting them, you outsource your healing to systems that profit from your stagnation. Therapy apps promise recovery, but their business models rely on repeat customers. A cured client is a lost revenue stream. Your brain is being hacked. Every notification, every limited time offer, every TikTok therapist diagnosing you in 30 seconds exploits a primal vulnerability, the human need for certainty. Neuroscience reveals that uncertainty activates the same neural pathways as physical pain. Consumerism weaponizes this. Buy this course to fix your life. Take this quiz to find your purpose. These are psychological slot machines. Pull the lever, get a hit of hope, but the house always wins. B.F. Skinner's operant conditioning experiments showed that random rewards create addiction. Instagram's algorithm applies this ruthlessly. Scroll long enough, and you'll stumble upon an ad for antidepressants nestled between memes, a variable reward schedule for the soul. You're not choosing to consume. You're being conditioned. Friedrich Nietzsche warned that God is dead, but he couldn't have foreseen what would fill the void. The religion of consumerism. Churches decline, but wellness cults rise. Yoga studios replace confessionals. Supplements replace sacraments. The rituals are the same. Light a candle, purchase from Goop, chant an affirmation, I am enough. Sacrifice your savings at the altar of self-optimization. Carl Jung saw this coming. He wrote that modern humans, severed from myth and ritual, would fall into a collective neurosis. Consumerism feeds that neurosis by selling ersatz spirituality, crystals for connection, manifestation journals for meaning. The shadow work you refuse to do is repackaged as a $79 online course. Aldous Huxley's Brave New World. Imagine a dystopia pacified by pleasure. Soma pills kept the masses docile. Today, we have Adderall, CBD gummies, and ASMR videos. Huxley's nightmare wasn't tyranny. It was voluntary servitude. We medicate ourselves into compliance, swallowing pills to endure jobs that drain us, relationships that starve us, and a planet we're too numb to save. Viktor Frankl, Auschwitz survivor and psychiatrist, argued that suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning. But consumerism inverts this. It tells you suffering is meaningless unless it can be commodified. Grief? Buy a memorial necklace. Burnout? Here's a productivity planner. The system strips pain of its wisdom, reducing it to a problem to be solved for a fee. Arthur Schopenhauer wrote, "Man can do what he wills, but he cannot with what he wills. Your desires aren't yours. They're implants. From childhood, you're trained to want, to equate possession with worth. Instagram influencers flaunt their healing journeys like luxury handbags. Even resistance is co-opted. Punk becomes a $200 ripped jacket. Feminism becomes a corporate hashtag. The most insidious lie? That self-improvement is rebellion. Buy the bullet journal. Buy the Peloton. Buy the life coach. The message is clear. You are a project, forever unfinished. But as Alan Watts observed, trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. Consumerism turns introspection into a shopping list. For millennia, mental health was communal. Grief was shared in village rituals. Anxiety was eased by kinship. Today, we've privatized suffering. You cry alone into a therapy app instead of howling with friends around a fire. Social media mimics connection but amplifies isolation. Followers replace confidants. Emojis replace embraces. The algorithm rewards vulnerability performed as content. Your breakdown becomes a brand. This is by design. Atomized people are profitable people. If you belong to a tribe, you wouldn't need Amazon Subscribe and Save to fill the void. Consumerism's greatest trick? Convincing you that liberation is always one purchase away. The meditation app promises inner peace, but keeps you tethered to the screen. The trauma-informed yoga class demands you relive your pain, then sells you a $50 aromatherapy roller to numb it. You chase healing but orbit the wound. Nietzsche's eternal recurrence takes on new horror. What if you're doomed to repeat the cycle until you break the spell? This is the hidden problem. Consumerism didn't just commercialize mental health. It rewired humanity's operating system. It turned existential questions into shopping carts and sacred struggles into SEO keywords. But to see the full scope of the trap, we must trace its consequences. How this invisible puppet master shapes your relationships, your politics, your very sense of reality. In the next section, we'll confront the fallout. You'll discover how the mindfulness industrial complex breeds dissociation, why your political rage is being sold back to you as a themed t-shirt, and how your brain has been colonized by the logic of the marketplace. The rabbit hole goes deeper. You're lying in bed at 2 a.m., scrolling through videos of strangers meditating in Icelandic fjords. Their captions preach inner peace, but their eyes betray a manic desperation. You tap, add to cart, on a $200 noise-canceling headset. This will help me sleep, you tell yourself. But sleep never comes. Instead, you drift into a twilight zone where even your dreams are sponsored. Visions of lavender-scented futures where you're finally healed, provided you keep consuming. This is the first consequence. The commodification of consciousness itself. Your inner world, the last frontier of true privacy, has been strip-mined, packaged, and sold back to you. The thoughts you think, the emotions you feel, the silent screams you stifle at 3 a.m., All have been transformed into market data. Every Google search for "Am I broken?" becomes a bidding war for your attention between therapists, gurus, and pharmaceutical giants. Aldous Huxley's Soma wasn't a pill, it was a state of mind. Today, dissociation is a default. We build an entire economy on fleeing the present moment. Mindfulness apps promise to ground you, but only if you stare at a screen. Digital detox retreats charge $5,000 to teach you how to sit in silence, a skill your ancestors mastered for free. The irony is lethal. We're so desperate to feel that we outsource feeling itself. Neurologically, this is a catastrophe. The brain's default mode network, the circuitry responsible for self-reflection and meaning-making, atrophies under constant distraction. We lose the ability to sit with discomfort, to process grief, to wrestle with existential questions. Instead, we reflexively reach for the next dopamine hit. A new course, a new pill, a new ideology. Consumerism doesn't just sell escape. It annihilates your capacity to endure reality. You join an online support group for anxiety. Within weeks, your feed becomes an echo chamber of horror stories and miracle cures. Algorithms amplify extremes. Either you're cured by a mushroom microdose or doomed to eternal suffering. This is cognitive capitalism's masterstroke. It fractures collective struggles into niche markets. Your pain is no longer a shared human experience. It's a demographic. Jean-Paul Sartre warned of seriality, the reduction of individuals to interchangeable cogs. But consumerism goes further. It turns your mental health into a brand identity. Are you a highly sensitive person? T-shirts available on Etsy. A survivor, memoir writing workshop, $299. The labels give temporary comfort, but eternal isolation. You're not a person, you're a customer segment. They've convinced you that liberation looks like a bubble bath. The self-care industrial complex, a $450 billion behemoth, sells empowerment as pampering, resistance as retail therapy. But this is a pacifier, not a revolution. While you soak in rose petals, the systems that gutted your psyche, late-stage capitalism, ecological collapse, systemic alienation, grow stronger. Carl Jung's shadow has been rebranded. Once a call to confront your darkest depths, it's now a TikTok trend. #shadow work. Posts urge you to buy this journal to heal generational trauma. But true shadow work isn't aesthetic. It's a blood and guts reckoning with the parts of yourself no product can fix. Consumerism sanitizes the process, leaving you with platitudes and empty credit cards. Your phone knows you're unraveling before you do. It hears the tremor in your voice when you ask Siri how to stop a panic attack. It tracks the midnight purchases, the weighted blanket, the breathwork app, the emergency Xanax refill. Machine learning predicts your breaking point, then floods your feed with solutions. But these aren't lifelines. They're leeches. B.F. Skinner's nightmare is here. Variable reinforcement schedules, the same mechanism that hooked rats on random pellets, now dictate your mental health journey. Scroll, click, consume. Sometimes you get a nugget of genuine insight. Mostly you get ads. The algorithm doesn't care if you heal. It cares if you scroll. Depression isn't a mood, it's a marketing niche. ADHD isn't a neurotype, it's a TikTok aesthetic. Consumerism reduces complexity to slogans. Heal your inner child. Crush your goals. Silence your inner critic. But human beings aren't bullet points. Trauma can't be solved in a 30-day course. Grief won't fit into a productivity hack. Viktor Frankl's search for meaning has been outsourced AI life coaches. What's your purpose? Ask the chatbot. Its response is cobbled from self-help bestsellers. The answers feel hollow because you're conversing with a hall of mirrors, reflecting commodified tropes instead of truth. Consumerism's most perverse feat, making you believe your suffering is unique and therefore saleable. Mental health is framed as a personal failing, never a societal symptom. You're told to fix your mindset about climate collapse, to manifest abundance amid wage slavery. The message is clear. If you're anxious about the apocalypse, the problem isn't the apocalypse. It's you. Friedrich Nietzsche's will to power has been bastardized into hustle culture. Rest is sinful. Burnout is a badge of honor. The sicker you get, the more you're praised for grinding. And when you finally collapse, there's a product for that. A woman weeps on TikTok about her divorce. The comments overflow with heart emojis and links to her healing heartbreak masterclass. Pain has become content. Vulnerability, a growth hack. We've been trained to monetize our meltdowns, to view each other not as fellow sufferers, but as competitors in the trauma Olympics. Arthur Schopenhauer's will to live has mutated into a will to perform. We broadcast our suffering to prove its valid, authentic connection dies. Community becomes a Discord server with a paywall. The result? A world where loneliness is pandemic, yet we're more connected than ever. Here's the unbearable truth. Consumerism hasn't just corrupted mental health. It's rendered genuine healing impossible. Every solution perpetuates a disease. Therapy apps collect your data to sell you sleep aids. Wellness influencers hawk detox teas while popping Adderall. We're trapped in an Ouroboros of consumption, eating our own tails to survive. This is Huxley's Brave New World with a Silicon Valley spin. The soma is digital. The chains are seamless. The prison is so comfortable you mistaken it for a spa. But a cage is still a cage, even if it's lined with organic bamboo sheets. The clock is ticking. With every click, every purchase, every numbed-out hour spent chasing quick fixes, you surrender another fragment of your autonomy. The consequences are no longer abstract. They're etched into your nervous system, your relationships, your crumbling sense of self. But there's a way out. Not through another purchase, but through revolt, a psychological insurrection against a machinery devouring your soul. In the next section, we'll ignite that rebellion. You'll discover how to detox your mind from consumerist logic, why true healing demands radical disobedience, and how figures like Socrates, Fyodor Dostoevsky, and Gabor Mate lit the path for those brave enough to walk it. The exit exists, but it won't be found in your shopping cart. You're standing in a fluorescent-lit pharmacy aisle, staring at shelves of antidepressants, sleep aids, and stress relief gummies. A voice in your head whispers, maybe this time it'll work. But another voice, older, wilder, snarls back, what if the problem isn't you? What if the problem is the game itself? This is where the rebellion begins, not with self-improvement, but with self-reclamation. Consumerism thrives on your belief that you're incomplete, a half-finished puzzle missing its pieces. But what if you were whole all along? What if the cracks in your psyche aren't flaws, but portals? Friedrich Nietzsche gave us the blueprint. Become what you are, not better, not healed, not optimized, just what you are. This isn't passivity, it's war. To stop chasing fixes is to disarm the system. No product can fill a void that doesn't exist. In 1845, Henry David Thoreau walked into the woods near Walden Pond to live deliberately. His cabin cost $28 to build. Today, mindful living is a $647 billion industry. We confuse minimalism with aesthetic, simplicity with a Pinterest board. True rebellion isn't buying less. It's needing less. Try this experiment. For 1 week, confront every urge to consume without reaching for your phone. When anxiety claws at your chest, don't open a meditation app. Open the window. Let the raw, unfiltered world rush in. When loneliness aches, don't DM a stranger. Sit with the emptiness until it transforms into something else. Clarity, creativity, fury. Carl Jung called this the transcendent function, the psyche's ability to alchemize conflict into growth. But transcendence can't be outsourced. It requires friction, struggle, the terrifying freedom of facing yourself without a script. In Soviet Russia, dissidents circulated forbidden books in secret, samizdat. Today, your mind is a censored state. Algorithms delete dangerous thoughts before they form. To rebel, you must become a samizdat of the soul. Start here. 1. Delete the apps that profit from your pain, not just social media, therapy bots, mindfulness timers, AI life coaches. 2. Rewild your attention. Read books that don't help you. Stare at walls. Get bored enough to hear your own thoughts. 3. Reclaim your metaphors. Stop calling yourself broken or unhealed. You're not a machine, you're a mystery. Fyodor Dostoevsky's underground man raged against the crystal palace of rationalism. Your crystal palace is a consumerist dream, the lie that everything, even your soul, can be perfected. Smash it. In 2022, a group of Italian workers occupied a closed factory and turned it into a community mental health center. They didn't use apps or pills. They used pottery classes, shared meals, and collective screaming sessions. Depression rates in the neighborhood dropped by 40%. This is the antidote, replacing transactional self-care with radical interdependence. Form a pain circle where strangers meet to share unfiltered struggles. No advice, no platitudes, just witness. Barter skills instead of selling them. Trade guitar lessons for home repairs. Swap poetry for childcare. Rediscover the lost art of kin-keeping, the unpaid, unglamorous work of nurturing bonds that algorithms can't monetize. Jean-Paul Sartre was wrong. Hell isn't other people. Hell is other people mediated through screens, metrics, and a capitalist gaze. Heaven is presence without performance. Schools teach you to obey, consume, and climb ladders. It's time for an education they banned. 1. Study madness as wisdom. The West exiled shamans and mystics to asylums. Read R.D. Laing's A Politics of Experience and learn how psychosis can be initiation. 2. Relearn death. Consumerism fears mortality, hence the $120 billion wellness industry. Sit with graves. Write your own eulogy. Let mortality strip away trivial worries. 3. Steal philosophy. Don't buy courses. Read Marcus Aurelius in jail PDFs. Download Zizek lectures from pirate sites. Knowledge wants to be free. Viktor Frankl survived Auschwitz by finding meaning in suffering. You survive late capitalism by finding meaning through suffering, not by fleeing it with purchases. They want your despair clean and billable. $200/hour therapy sessions. $80 stress relief massages. But raw, unbranded joy is revolutionary. Dance naked in your living room to music that doesn't appear on any algorithm. Cook a meal with no photos taken. Have sex without tracking your performance on wellness apps. In these acts, you become ungovernable. Meet your role models. David Bowie, who spent the 1970s oscillating between cocaine psychosis and cosmic creativity. He didn't optimize his mental health. He channeled his demons into art that redefined humanity. Zora Neale Hurston, who wrote her masterpiece There eyes were watching God during a decade of poverty, depression, and professional rejection. No productivity hacks, just raw genius. The anonymous Russian babushkas who outlived the Soviet collapse by growing potatoes, sharing vodka, and laughing at doom. These aren't success stories. They're proof that healing happens in the cracks between systems. Consumerism fears nothing more than your unmonetized mind, so starve the beast. 1. Go analog. Write letters with a pen. Think without an app. 2. Embrace useless practices. Birdwatching, cloud staring, daydreaming. 3. Build mental no-go zones. Parts of your psyche you refuse to pathologize or sell. Arthur Schopenhauer spent hours daily playing flute to stray cats. He didn't call it self-care. He called it living. Rebellion isn't a one-time act. It's a daily practice. When they say, "You're too sensitive," answer good. I plan to feel the coming apocalypse in 4K. When they sell inner peace, choose inner war, the sacred rage that fuels change. When they pathologize your despair, tell them, this isn't depression, it's clarity. Gabor Mate was right. Don't ask why the addiction, ask why the pain. Now go further. Ask who profits from that pain. Then cut off their supply. This isn't about curing yourself. It's about becoming so fiercely alive, so unapologetically human, that the machinery of consumerism chokes on your existence. You'll still feel pain. You'll still crack under pressure. But in those cracks, you'll find something no app can provide. The electric thrill of an uncommodified life. Yet the greatest revelation remains. It's not about what you do. It's about what you are. In the final section, we'll confront the ultimate truth, that your mental health was never yours to lose, that the self you've been trying to fix is a fiction, and that freedom begins when you stop seeing yourself as a problem and start seeing yourself as a revolution. You stand at the edge of a cliff, wind tearing at your clothes. Below you stretches a valley of flickering screens, shopping carts glowing like fireflies, and skyscrapers branded with the logos of mental health empires. For years, you've been told this is the only world that exists, that your pain is a glitch in their system, your joy a product to be leased back to you. But now, after unraveling the lies, you feel it, a tectonic shift in your bones. The ultimate truth isn't something you learn. It's something you remember. You were never sick. You were never broken. You were never a customer. Consumerism's greatest feat wasn't selling you solutions. It was selling you a self, a fragile, hungry, perpetually incomplete self, a self that needed fixing, a self that could be upgraded like software, a self that mistook its own reflection in the marketplace for a soul. This is a lie, that you are separate from the world, a discrete unit of lack and desire, that your mind is a machine to be optimized, that your worth fluctuates with productivity metrics and Instagram likes. But peel back the layers and you'll find the raw, pulsing truth. You are not a self. You are a process, a verb masquerading as a noun, a river insisting it's a bottle. Carl Jung glimpsed this. Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. But even Jung couldn't foresee how consumerism would weaponize introspection, turning the sacred mirror of self-inquiry into a shopping list. Here's the revelation that changes everything. The you that feels inadequate, anxious, and unhealed is a colonial construct, a ghost implanted by advertising, Psychiatry's DSM manuals, and the algorithmic hive mind. It has no substance, no permanence, no breath. Think back. Before the world told you to hate your body, you simply had one. Before they pathologized your sadness, you let tears flow like rain. Before mindfulness became an industry, you knew how to watch clouds without naming them. The child you once were didn't need branded serenity. They found wonder in dandelion fluff and the smell of gasoline on summer asphalt. This is your birthright, a consciousness unmediated by products, a psyche that doesn't speak the language of capitalism, a being so ancient, so wild, that it defies all labels. In 1943, Jean-Paul Sartre wrote Being and Nothingness, arguing that humans are condemned to be free. But consumerism inverted this. We're addicted to being filled. We fear emptiness like nature abhors a vacuum. Yet, what if the cure for our mental health crisis lies not in consumption, but in annihilation, the dissolution of the false self? Consider the Japanese concept of ma, the sacred space between things, the pause between notes that makes music, the silence between thoughts where wisdom whispers. Consumerism tries to eliminate ma, to cram every moment with content, every silence with podcasts, every doubt with answers. But in that void, that terrifying nothingness, your true self waits. Try this. Sit with emotion, rage, grief, longing, without trying to fix it. Don't journal. Don't meditate. Don't call it triggered. Just let it be. You'll feel the consumer self squirm. It will scream for solutions, for purchases for escape. Let it scream, then watch as something shifts. The emotion loses its fangs. The void becomes a womb. All this time, you've been searching for mental health. But what if the concept itself is a trap? The Romans had no word for depression. Medieval monks welcomed melancholia as divine visitation. The Kung San tribe interprets anxiety as ancestral messages. Mental health, as we define it, is a cultural hallucination, a story sold by those who profit from your belief in brokenness. Nietzsche laughed at this. Madness is rare in individuals, but in groups, it is the rule. The real pandemic isn't depression. It's a collective delusion that human suffering is a technical error, that millennia of grief, love, and existential terror can be reduced to brain chemicals and fixed with pills. Here's the punchline. You're not mentally ill. You're alive. To feel despair in a dying world is sanity. To rage against alienation is wisdom. To ache for meaning is your humanity screaming through the anesthesia. In the ashes of the consumer self, something stirs. Not a new identity, but a homecoming. This is what the mystics tried to tell us. The Gnostic Sophia, divine wisdom born from the void. The Buddhist Anatman, the truth of no self. The Sufi Fana, annihilation in God. They all point to the same truth. You are not the story you've been sold. You are the silence between words, the space between stars, the hand that turns a kaleidoscope, not the fragments inside. Gabor Mate hinted at this. The attempt to escape from pain is what creates more pain. Now take it further. The attempt to escape yourself is what created the consumer self. Stop running, and the whole charade collapses. Try to package this truth, and it slips through your fingers. No app can contain it. No influencer can sell it. No therapist can diagnose it. This is why consumerism fears your awakening. A soul that knows its worth can't be commodified. A mind that sees through the game becomes ungovernable. You want proof? The joy of a child's laughter, free, contagious, utterly unprofitable. The catharsis of screaming into a thunderstorm, no subscription required. The solidarity of strangers helping each other survive, no data collected. These moments terrify the system. They're cracks in the simulation, glitches where life bursts through. In his final days, as he lay paralyzed from ALS, philosopher Walter Kaufmann was asked what he'd learned. His answer, that one must say no to nearly everything to make room for the yes that matters. This is your nuclear option, to say no to every pill program and guru that profits from your disconnection, to say yes to the messy, unbranded reality of your existence, to trade mental health for something far more dangerous, aliveness. You are standing at the cliff's edge again. Below, the neon valley pulses, but now you see it for what it is, a hologram, a collective nightmare, a game you can stop playing. So, jump, not into oblivion, into remembrance. Let the wind strip away the consumer self like dead skin. Let the fall unmake every label, every diagnosis, every branded salvation. And when you land, because you will land, you'll find yourself in a world both familiar and alien. The same world, but seen with new eyes. Anxiety becomes energy. Depression becomes depth. Trauma becomes testimony. You'll walk through cities like a ghost, untouched by ad screaming. You're not enough. You'll watch friends chase cures like moths circling flame, and you'll whisper, the fire is inside you. This isn't an ending, it's a beginning. The consumer self will try to resurrect. After a bad day, a heartbreak, a societal collapse, it will hiss. Just this one purchase, just this one fix. Your weapon? The absurd, the irrational, the holy refusal to play. When they say, what's your coping mechanism? Answer, I forget to cope. When they pathologize your rage, laugh. This isn't anger. It's love dressed in storm clouds. When they try to sell you peace, recite Rumi. You were born with wings. I prefer to crawl through life. Screen fades, the video ends, but you're still here, breathing, pulsing, gloriously unoptimized. The ultimate truth, you were never meant to be healed. You were meant to be alive. Now go and live like none of this is for sale. If you find these stories interesting, please take time to subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button and the notification bell to be informed when any video is arrived. Share this content with your friends. This will cost 10 seconds from your time, but it means a lot for us. Your support is crucial in pushing us to produce more and generate more videos. Thank you.